Greetings everyone. I wish you all an abundance of energy, peace, and hearts always full of love. We've just spent half an hour meditating to focus our minds. In the morning, our minds are more receptive than at other times. They haven't wandered off yet. They haven't gone astray or adventured out. Of course, the mind can be used for thinking, planning, imagining and creating, but if that's all it does, the mind will become exhausted. It will gradually fade and no longer be able to fully utilize its capabilities. Therefore, the mind also needs to pause, to be fully present in the moment, without the need to think. There are times for thinking, but also times when we want to stop thinking. If we can do that, it's wonderful, because clearly there are times when we are very tired, our heads are very stressed, and we really want to stop. We want to focus on the current task, focus on loved ones around us or on ourselves. But our mind hasn't listened for a long time. We've let it operate very freely, very naturally. It's like a monkey mind constantly swinging from branch to branch, to the point where we know that if we focus on the food, it will taste better. If we focus on the story will be better. If we focus on the work will be of higher quality. But we still can't do it. We are living in an era with too many attractions, an era of economic development with many things for us to seize and fulfill our ambitions, excessive ambitions. And we also live in an age where technology reigns with too many attractions on the virtual world, on apps, and it almost constantly dominates our minds. In previous decades, people were mostly only easily trapped in work or in emotional relationships. But now, the third important factor that must be mentioned, and sometimes even takes the top spot, is electronic devices, the smartphone. It's so smart that it makes us gradually lose our flexibility, clarity, and awareness. And so, we are always being attracted, being pulled. We grab at one object after another until we are exhausted. 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 or 2 a.m., still glued there, scrolling through TikTok, YouTube, watching movies, listening to music, reading meaningless things to continue searching for dopamine, those pleasant, exciting states to save our souls because we don't want to face ourselves. And gradually, we lose the ability to focus deeply on one object. When we can't focus deeply on an object, for example, we are doing work that we used to love, but now we can't focus on it. If we can't focus, we don't see its value. Our body is here, but our mind has wandered off somewhere else. The focus is very weak, a kind of distraction, while the object is appearing very beautiful, very interesting, very valuable. Our loved ones are also very valuable in front of us. We love and cherish them very much, but we are not fully present. We only have 10 or 20% focus, or even no percentage at all. We're just a body without a soul. So, even if that object is brilliant, it has already appeared, but we are not brilliant enough to appear as well. The two sides are very disproportionate to each other, and we will no longer see the value of the object. More possessions, I won't be happy. The reason for unhappiness is when the conditions for happiness are present around us, from material comforts to spiritual comforts, but we're not fully present. We can't focus because we just start to see the value, then a phone call or a text message pulls us into social media, work, projects and plans. In the end, we have so many cups of tea, but we never learn to drink tea, never stop to savor it. We might have hundreds, thousands, even millions of teacups at home. These teacups represent what we've accumulated, but we can't stop. We don't have time to stop and enjoy them. Because if we stop to enjoy them, we don't need to live through so many cups of tea. We live through too many cups of tea, so we don't have time to stop. If by some great karmic connection, on some lucky occasion, we can stop and enjoy a cup of tea, deeply appreciate the value of our belongings and comforts, our house, our car, our clothes, the work we do, and more importantly, our loved ones beside us will feel incredibly happy. If we're that happy, then we don't need to accumulate so much more. We should just enjoy what we have. To enjoy something, you must be focused. You must be present. To be present, you must temporarily cut off external influences. You must learn to let go of unnecessary things. That's your intelligence, your bravery. If you just follow the programming, follow habits, follow the flow of society, if everyone has something, you have it too. If everyone does something, you do it too. If everyone is unhappy, then you are too. Then don't complain about why it's so hard to be happy in this life. Why there are so many difficulties and sufferings in life. It's because we haven't conquered ourselves. One of the responsibilities, one of the main jobs, the most important thing for each person is to conquer themselves. That includes wanting to live in the present moment, which we can do. We want to focus on the core values of our life, the deeper meaning, living a quality life. If we can do that, what's hindering this decision? We cut it all off, or at least cut some of it off. If we can't cut it all off, then cut off some of it. That's why the word ekste, letting go, is very important in Buddhist practice. You must have scissors, you must have knives, you must have a sword, so that when you see something in yourself growing out, clinging to unnecessary things during moments of weakness, when you can't control yourself, you must wield the sword and cut it off. Temporarily retreat, refuse, and reduce things to focus all your energy on concentration. That means gathering the scattered energy and focusing it on the essential, the center of life. What is the main thing in your life? Are you doing the right thing? The main thing in life isn't to go to work. Work is just a means to live. The main thing in life is to live deeply and meaningfully. To do that, you must always be in control of yourself. You must focus on that every day. Focus on living deeply. Eat a meal deeply. Say a word deeply. Sweep the floor, bathe, converse, talk to your children, negotiate with customers, discuss matters with colleagues, all with sincerity, wholeheartedness, truthfulness, and depth. If you can do that, you'll realize that happiness is here. Happiness is like that. The conditions for happiness are ready. Now, all you need is to conquer yourself to be ready, to be fully present, body and mind. When you're fully present, body and mind, you focus back on your main task. That's living deeply, and you'll naturally feel a lot of joy. There's a lot of happiness, even though you still need to accumulate and strive for the future. But you're firmly rooted in the present moment. If you want to go to the future and know what it holds, look at how you're living, Is the way you're living in the present moment of good quality? Do you know how to live? And the way we're living is living completely. Whatever you do, focus wholeheartedly on it. When you interact with someone, interact wholeheartedly with them. That's a moment of very deep living. That's a moment of happiness. Meaning the secret to life is to focus all your energy completely in every moment, no matter what you're doing, from the biggest things to the smallest things, personal activities. That's when you interact with anyone, from strangers to dear friends and relatives. Be complete, just focus on that. In meditation, we have phrases like, only know this moment. In this moment, I only know that I'm here. That's it. No work, no phone, no messages, no events happening, just the event of me stopping. Focusing on the present moment, focusing on myself. I'm focusing on being able to sit peacefully. I'm present for myself. And I only know myself, even though after meditation, when I get up, I have to know many other things. I have responsibilities and duties to many things. But I allow myself a half an hour to sit here quietly, only knowing this one thing. That's why when you go into meditation retreats, 7 days, 10 days, 21 days, several months, you're always asked to put your phone aside and not touch it. During that time, you're also not allowed to talk or interact. You only know yourself because you come to the meditation center not to talk, not to discuss worldly matters. You come to the meditation center not to use your phone to contact family or work. You come to the center to detach from the things that you can't detach from in everyday life, which constantly drain your energy and vitality, causing you to be scattered. So you don't have any energy reserves left, so you can't continue to live deeply and with quality. So you're only in a meditation course. And in that course, you have many what are called disciplines. Rules, disciplines, principles, precepts to force you to confine yourself to a framework, to help both your body and mind to be in the flow of focus, of mindfulness, of concentration, of observation. That's the skill of the meditation masters, of the meditation center. It's a very excellent environment. You have to be able to do it in the easiest, best conditions. Then you'll believe that you can bring meditation into life. If you come to a meditation retreat that's loose, still using your phone, still taking the opportunity to chat, then thinking about projects and plans, meaning you have no discipline, you can't concentrate. Without discipline, you can't practice meditation deeply. Americans use the word gumption, meaning you use a whole lot to ensure you can enter meditation. Entering the world of the inner self is complex and mysterious, giving you a lot of power. Concentration is power. You might believe power means authority, money, and social status, but try returning to developing concentration. Transform it into a power within you, but that's not easy. It requires daily, monthly, and yearly practice. Believe that with each bit of focus, the world around you will change with each bit of concentrated power. Food will taste better, your house will look nicer, your loved ones will seem more radiant, and each day will feel richer. Life will feel more precious. Isn't that a big change, a miracle? Before, the world seemed boring, your loved ones had problems, and your job was miserable. But with a little energy, focus again by not using your phone for a day, 2 days, 3 days, or even just a few hours. Stop interacting, avoid drama, and don't go online for sensational news that drains your energy. Return to reality and focus on your main job. The right thing is to live deeply and meaningfully and to fulfill your responsibilities. Be fully present in whatever work you're doing. To gain focus, you must constantly hone it. In meditation, deep focus usually requires sitting for an hour or more to deepen and strengthen it. Good meditators spend years honing their focus, turning their concentration into a flow. Flow means complete immersion, forgetting the world. Close your eyes during meditation. Focus on one point. Keep going, and the world around you will gradually fade. You'll no longer hear, see, or feel anything. That's the power of focus. Focus differs from mindfulness, though it's part of it. Vipassana, observation, is key. But you can't develop mindfulness without focus. You can't observe anything deeply or long enough when your mind is constantly fluctuating. As you deepen your focus, the boundary between you and the world blurs. No ego is established. You feel lighter and peaceful. You're completely immersed in the flow of focus. Of course, a bit of mindfulness is needed to avoid getting stuck in this focus and falling into wrong focus. Use that momentum in life, limiting external influences and phone use. Limit conversations and unnecessary activities. Only meet necessary people and do necessary things to wholeheartedly focus on your attitude and way of living. Do we focus all our effort into our vision, into every activity? I hope everyone today and in the future lives deeply, knowing when to stop and separate from focus all your energy on anything that distracts you. Focus on everything you encounter in every moment, whenever you remember. Now, I would like to present to everyone a song by musician Ingo Mintre titled, "You Come Here, Then Come." It means you've come here, but don't act like you've never been here. Your body is here, but where is your mind? How can your mind be where your body is? If you want a journey, both feet must be on the boat. Don't have one foot on the shore and one foot on the boat. It's very dangerous. When you come here, and many others come here too, when awakened people are all together, we will create a great power, a flow of awakening, of concentration, of mindfulness, so that we can contribute to building an awakened, civilized, and wise society. Please listen. This morning, sitting here with the Buddha. But everyone, imagine if the Buddha is here, if the Buddha is present here, and we are not present here, we say, "Buddha, I can't concentrate." If we call on the Buddha but can't concentrate, we won't receive anything from the Buddha, and it's as if the Buddha isn't here at all. Therefore, concentration is very important. We are living in an era of rapid technological development, and we are part of that product. We are part of life, a product of society, and the shifts and trends in society's development greatly affect our lives. We cannot avoid it. We cannot avoid technology. We cannot avoid using technology. We cannot resist technology, but it is a terrible thing. We may not see all the downsides, the upsides of it. We have rushed into it naively, without preparation, without defense, and without the awareness to observe continuously. Perhaps 5 years ago, we were very different. 10 years ago, we were very different. Back then, we had good self-control. We were well grounded in the present. We concentrated very well on our work, our studies, and our loved ones. But now we can't help but use our phones all the time, even when talking to loved ones. We take out our phones even when working with our bosses, leaders, or customers, and we get distracted by many things on our phones. Don't underestimate this. We have lost the sacred ability of concentration, of being grounded in the present. And if we don't have it, we are gradually ceasing to be real people. We are becoming mechanized, and social trend forecasters believe that in a few decades, humans may have to implant chips or integrate machines into their bodies. Perhaps one day we will be half human, half machine. There is still much debate about this. But even if there is debate, if the conditions are right, it will happen just as we once debated the use of the internet, Wi-Fi and apps. But then it still happened and became part of our lives. Imagine if we have too many machines inside us, what will remain of our humanity? What will remain of our ability to feel, to express emotions, to enjoy the sunrise, hear the birds sing, and see the faces of our loved ones completely as the truly natural human beings that heaven and earth created? Humans have interfered too much with the naturalness of life, so let's not let ourselves become victims of that interference. Let's try to take control of our lives. Let's keep our souls, keep the sacred ability of ourselves. No matter what others do, as long as each of us, once we are aware of this, tries to practice, tries to return to being grounded in the present every day, developing the power of concentration, of observation, of awareness, of awakening, so that we can live deeply. Living vibrantly means living happily. We can create quality products for life, and we can also inspire our children and future generations that there are many other values that need to be maintained, developed, and continuously explored without necessarily rushing out to grasp and expect things. And if we have more communities of conscious people, we can create a major trend that positively influences the shaping of the world in the future. Each element doing and living with quality will inspire and uplift many souls. That is the only path of hope for humanity. Thank you for your diligent practice, everyone. See you in the next practice session. Now, please listen to 3 sounds of the bell. Those of you who have experienced many years in life will surely realize that when we are angry, living in worry and fear, when our psychology is so pressured that we fall into depression, mania, delusion, or even mental illness, those material comforts, honors, powers, and respect become meaningless. Even when we are sick and have to be hospitalized, those things become meaningless. But we often forget them. We continue to follow our instincts, and we continue to abandon ourselves. We have to experience some kind of upheaval, collapse, loss, or calm before we may have a chance, a negative but increasing condition. An adversity that creates a good opportunity for us to stop and return to ourselves. Returning to ourselves doesn't mean giving up on life, but returning to ourselves to renew our souls, to nurture our souls, to upgrade the values within ourselves, For a long time, we've been using our old, worn-out selves. Every word we say can cause misunderstanding and hurt others. Every action we take only makes others cautious, wary, and uneasy. So why keep rushing forward, eagerly fighting without stopping? Trelen Yesen Yesen in his song De Talaut Thakasikan has the line, "My life has run out of new things. I've lived very carelessly." When the expression is gone, the contribution is gone. When the good and beautiful things within us are gone, we must know to retreat and nurture, continue to polish, continue to cultivate the deep values within ourselves. We used to be a very lovely person, a very innocent person, a very kind person, a very tolerant and generous person, but the fierce struggle for survival has changed us a lot. Therefore, a return is very necessary. In Buddhism, there's the phrase Adlai, Ailo Thin Yin, turning back to the good shore. Many people think that turning around and seeing the shore immediately means that practicing is achieving enlightenment right away. How could that be? If practicing led to enlightenment immediately, then my students and I wouldn't be sitting here yawning. Practicing is very difficult. We've gone too far, training ourselves into habits, customs, prejudices, and biases, to bring our minds back to a clear, honest, innocent, and sincere state, like its original true nature, is not easy. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Even knowing that turning back to look, the shore of awakening is still far away." A very experienced statement, meaning you know you're wrong, you know you've gone astray, and you want to return, and you've truly stepped onto the right path. And you know for sure that once you step onto this path, you will definitely reach the destination. You will find your true self again. But it's not that easy. Having stepped onto the path of awakening, having found the method, you can still fall back as usual, still get stuck somewhere, or not go anywhere at all. Even knowing that turning back to look, the shore of awakening is still far away. My experience is different. The shore of awakening is not too far, only worried about too many landings. Obsession clouds the path back to your inner self, back to cleansing your soul. There are many traps that can easily ensnare you, stemming from ego, a passion for fame, a passion for power, lust. Even switching to cultivation can lead to passions for enlightenment, for becoming a saint, for becoming someone, some kind of figure. That's still a sweet trap that can kill us on the path of cultivation and transformation. Even if you've found the path and are cultivating intensely, you can still go wrong, fall into pits, and not be safe. There's a poem I really liked when I was a monk. In the monastery, I often wrote this poem on a piece of paper and placed it on my desk as a reminder. The poem is titled Seeking a Recluse, but Not Meeting, by Jia Dao. Jia Dao was on his way to learn from a teacher, and he heard rumors that on a mountain there was a very skilled Zen master, but he rarely met anyone living in a very remote place. So Jia Dao traveled a long way to pay his respects and asked to learn the way, but unfortunately, when Jia Dao arrived, the Zen master had gone out and was not in the meditation room or hermitage. Not far away, it's Buddha nature, or enlightenment is already within us. But it feels distant because we've identified ourselves for too long with the habits and personalities we've built up. We play the role of husband so sweetly, the role of wife so well. We act so well the role of a businessman, a CEO, or someone powerful in society, and we get stuck in those roles. So every day we have to act that part. Roar, shout, be angry, resentful, and love, demand lust, and cause each other pain. Those are the roles in life that we forget deep down inside. We're not just that. That's just a small part of us. Within us, there are also elements of compassion, wisdom, tolerance, generosity, love, mindfulness, and enlightenment. All those values are still deep within our souls. And some people realize this and are determined to seek it, like Jite Khedo seeking his teacher. He arrived at the place where the teacher lived, and Thich Nhat met a young novice. Jite Khedo asked, "Where is the master?" The novice replied, "The master went to gather medicine. He just went to gather medicine only around this mountain, but the clouds have covered everything, so it's hard to find him." In the song, Finding Each Other, Zen Master Nai has a line, "I know where the Buddha is, but I haven't pinpointed where." That is, there are times when we have wonderful expressions within us, miraculous reactions of a saint, of a greatly compassionate person, of someone with understanding and wisdom, but it's fleeting. The rest is confusion. And in the journey to find those true values, we spend a lot of time and effort to search and find the very place where those true values reside, only to be blocked by layers of fog. We still can't see them. If you come here from Saigon and ask the assistant, "Where is the teacher?" and they say, "Oh, the teacher went for a walk over there. He's not home." Would you be like Jiklo, or would you patiently wait? If he doesn't return in an afternoon, maybe wait another day, because the teacher will surely return, having traveled thousands of miles to get here. Just hearing that the teacher went to gather medicine and giving up and going home, when you just need to stay and rest, and you'll surely meet him. In the path of cultivation and transformation, there's a very strange paradox. If you don't seek, you'll find. If you seek, you won't. But then there's another saying, if you persist, you will arrive. But if you seek, you won't find. Are those contradictory? Think about it. You know, our brain only weighs 1.5 kg, but our body at 6 or 70 kg, it takes up 25% of our energy, and the rest of our body only gets 75% of the energy. So we're always pushing energy upwards for the brain to work, to think, to worry, to judge, to comment, to evaluate, to fear, to fret, to be sad, angry, to love, a mess. All those activities are activities of the brain, but only the superficial part of the brain. Therefore, wise sages, including the Buddha, understood that principle. So they saw that when energy is pushed upwards like that, it concentrates in the brain, and we become unbalanced, and our senses no longer function sharply. Walking isn't really walking. Sitting isn't really sitting. Eating isn't really eating. Sleeping isn't really sleeping. Looking at something, we don't know what we're looking at. Hearing something, we don't know what we're hearing. We call it being present, but in reality, it's a state of the brain overworking unnecessarily. Therefore, the method of meditation is to bring energy down. Instead of it going to the brain, bring it to the whole body, to the senses, to every part of the body, so the energy takes root in the body. So when you raise your hand must have energy. When you look, your eyes must have energy. When you speak, your voice must have energy. When you walk, you must have energy. And that energy creates power within you, creates strength for you, and it can spread to others, connecting you. Other people's energy means when you push that energy from the brain down, leaving very little for it. So it thinks less, imagines less, worries less, fears less. Then the energy will focus on other senses. Now you are an extremely flexible, extremely vibrant entity, doing everything with soul. It's not just singing or reciting poetry that has soul, but walking has soul, sitting has soul, eating has soul, speaking has soul, doing anything has soul. It's because you have mastered your energy. And when you focus deeply, choosing a subject to focus your attention on very deeply, then that energy completely takes everything from the brain down to you. Now you can't think, don't worry anymore, no more aimless thoughts, but you feel very deeply what is happening in reality. And when your brain is less active, it worries less, thinks less, imagines less, observes less, judges less, then your consciousness shifts to a new level. This is the road back home. You begin to crawl back to your true nature. Usually we look at that object on 4 levels. The first level is called appearance, meaning you look at a vase and you know it's a vase. You look at the sunny sky and you know it's sunny. You look at the lake and you know it's a lake. That is, you know all the phenomena that occur in the present moment. Knowing everything clearly is called appearance. That is, looking is knowing. That's the first level. It's better than looking and not knowing. We haven't reached this level. Hearing but not knowing what you're hearing. A bird is chirping loudly, but you don't feel anything. Why? Because there's too much junk in your head. That person is talking, but you can't hear anything. That person is talking, but you hear something else. Because while that person is talking, you get lost in thought. You remember other messages, you evoke other messages. While this person is saying a very simple idea, you don't understand it, because you only hear what's in your head. You only listen to what's in your head, not what the other person is saying, so you're at a very low level. Now, the level that you can step up to on the path of finding yourself lies in your ability to perceive, which is called, that is the scope of perception of yourself. The second is comparison, which means comparing. Now you no longer see the phenomenon, you no longer see the face of the object clearly, but you can still know, for example, you see smoke rising in a house in the afternoon, and you know that this house is cooking. That is, thanks to the smoke rising, you know that there's cooking in the house. There's a fire lit, so the smoke comes out of the house. So, thanks to an object, you can recognize the problem. For example, when a meditator comes for advice, looking at their eye of the meditator, you know that this person has insomnia constantly, and not just insomnia. But the teacher can know that this person is panicking, is afraid. Looking into their eyes reveal many things. Eyes have power. Eyes don't have power. Focused eyes, panicked eyes, fearful eyes, suspicious eyes, direct eyes. All your subtle mental qualities are revealed very clearly in your eyes. So we should wear glasses often so no one recognizes what we're thinking and what energy is swirling around inside us. There are good psychological therapists. There are good spiritual masters. They don't rely on the eyes anymore. They rely on the energy called biopeel. That is, scientists say that we are always surrounded by an energy field that is emitted from within. Specifically, our consciousness emits it. So just seeing you from afar, they know if you are a good person or a bad person. Or seeing the way you walk, they know if you carry heavy energy or light. Peaceful energy or unstable energy. Looking at the energy, they can know. This is called comparison. Comparison is through a certain signal and can predict the problem. The third is called reasoning. We often use this. Reasoning is using intelligence to consider, to analyze, to reason according to some logic to figure out the problem. For example, this Tet holiday, I don't see my child. When I went back to my hometown, I knew that they were probably busy celebrating Tet up there, so they wouldn't be coming home to visit. Reasoning immediately reveals the problem. This is called deliberation without any signal at all. But if you think about it, you'll figure it out. And those of us who are intelligent reach a point where don't require any information at all, no signal at all, yet that person can deduce the problem. This is called deliberation. And the final level is called non-deliberation. Non-deliberation means no thinking, no reasoning, no analysis, no explanation, no application of any old experiences or knowledge, yet you can still see the problem. This is called direct intuition. Intuition is instruction. When we divine, we talk a lot about the mistakes of our perceptions, what we see. In that, I cited 2 verses. Clear water is inherently free of sorrow. The wind only wrinkles its surface. Green mountains never age, for snow covers them. Look at the jade, green lake surface out there. Today, you can see the water level is very high, and there's been a lot of wind these past few days. At times, we see waves like the sea, which is beautiful. We might be a newcomer who observes that the lake is always wavy or rippled. But such an observation is too hasty, too quick, and only temporary. If we stay here for a few days after the wind subsides, you'll witness moments when the lake is still and silent, and the forests and hills reflect in the lake's surface. Even the sky reflects in the lake, and even flocks of birds flying across the lake leave their mark. So the essence of the lake is inherently clear, still, and silent. But because of the wind's impact, because there is wind, the lake is disturbed and rippled. So the disturbance and the ripples are just a phenomenon. Anger, panic, chaos, madness, arrogance are just a phenomenon. But the true nature of each person, according to the Buddha's wisdom, is clarity and purity. But we get stuck on the phenomenon. Why? because we are still beings full of ego, a huge ego. We are envious, we are afraid, we scheme, we are selfish. So we try every way to protect our own interests. So when we look at an object, we are full of defensiveness, full of caution, full of worry. So we don't connect with the true nature of the object. And we assume the object is as it appears. The peach blossoms of Ho Tram Rai are like that. But that's not the truth. Only those who live here regularly understand what Ho Tram Rai is and what it's like. And the green mountains never age, for snow covers them. Green mountains means the green mountains don't have skin, but are covered in snow. And we newcomers think the mountain is old and barren. But after the thaw, after winter, when spring comes, when the sun shines and the snow melts, we have a truly green mountain. In my early days in the state, living in the Washington, D.C. area, I was surprised to see that the trees there were bare, with no leaves, like a dead forest. People said that these trees were still alive and would sprout in the spring. But it was hard to believe looking at them. But indeed, after winter, when the sun came out, they started to sprout and bud. When you look at that dry forest, you know there's life inside. That's called the eye of formlessness. Formlessness means you don't need form to see. It's about transcending form. You have to live in that area and experience it to believe it. If you're a newcomer and you see that forest for the first time, you can't believe there's life in it. You have to be someone who has experienced many years in life. You have to have a lot of spiritual experience. Then, when you look at someone who is angry, mad, and rebellious, you know that in the future, this person could become a psychotherapist, someone full of love, wisdom, or even an enlightened being. How can you believe that? We can only believe it when we don't get stuck on the phenomenon. That's why I deeply respect the Buddha and follow in his footsteps. When I read a book that contained a statement by the Buddha, there are no bad people, only bad actions. Actions are just a small part of a person at a certain stage. At a certain point, they act that way. But it's not a permanent trait. It's impermanent and will change as their consciousness, so their actions will also change. So, if you're teaching students and you can't see their true nature and don't know they possess a great treasure, you won't be able to nurture them because every day they're oozing negative energy. All kinds of negative energy, all sorts of tricks and phenomena. If they need scolding, scold them. If you need to be firm, be firm. Rules are rules. But know that deep down, everyone still holds many good values. But don't be too quick to celebrate. Sometimes you know it's there, but you can never find it. You know it's there, but it doesn't see you, which is frustrating. It's when the student, that person identifies themselves with their current difficulties. So you have to roar and shout for them to start waking up. If you start coddling them, saying, "It's okay, don't cry. Life is impermanent. Everyone goes through suffering." And tell them to accept it, they'll probably collapse and die. So our perception of what's happening around us is always wrong if our brains are still working intensely and we prioritize brain development and brain activity. always thinking, always worrying, always imagining, always analyzing, always reasoning, always explaining, always using biases and prejudices, then for sure our view is very wrong, because the world beyond thought is the world of Zen masters, the world of those who have entered the sacred realm, the world of enlightened people, which anyone can enter. That's when you don't need to reason anymore, you don't need to contemplate, you don't need to worry or explain everything. You can still see the problem. You have a very deep and broad understanding that we call wisdom. So sometimes we're about to reach wisdom, but then we see a fog and can't find it, so we give up. It's like going to the mountains to find agar wood. Some people go to the mountains to find agar wood, travel a bit, hear a roar, get scared and run away. Some people go, see the long road, get tired, thirsty, their throats dry up, hungry and exhausted. The long journey makes their feet sore, so they get discouraged and carry some firewood down. They have to carry something to avoid feeling embarrassed and losing out, so they gather a few bundles of firewood, but some people are determined to go all the way, and they get agar wood because it's found in very hidden and dangerous places, not easy to get. And the number of people who get agar wood is very small. You step onto the path of awakening and grasp the method of practice, but you still come back empty-handed as usual. Here, I want to talk about our attitude in cultivation. That determines the result. But before, we only emphasized determination and willpower. Whether you turn back or not, whether you're determined or not, we only talked about that, not about the attitude. But even if you have a strong will, you still may not achieve anything, or it could even be dangerous. To pave the way to achieve enlightenment, the following qualities show that a person has achieved enlightenment. They are very friendly and sincere, very genuine, very lovely, very loving, and respectful of everything around them. In general, all the qualities of an enlightened person are in the common denominator of no ego, no self. They are not proud, not arrogant, not self-important. Don't think they are better than others. Don't look down on others. They don't infringe on the rights of others. As for sincerely praying and loving the path, diligently chanting scriptures and mantras, meditating, all of that has nothing to do with achieving enlightenment, even if you can meditate for 2 hours straight without moving a muscle, but you're still angry, you still react, you're still defensive, you're still worried and afraid, then it means you haven't achieved anything, you haven't achieved the essence of cultivation. So we shouldn't be too quick to believe our own perceptions, especially when our brains are working intensely and our defilements are fully awakened in our heads, when we're emotional, when we're overwhelmed, when delusions make us overly anxious and fearful. Our perceptions at those times are easily distorted, so we shouldn't overly trust our minds. We should only trust our minds when they are truly at peace, stable, comfortable, and relaxed. But even then, our perceptions are better. I say better, but they still can't reach complete accuracy. We have many levels of awareness, and when emotions overwhelm us, When love and hate invade our being, excessive love is also ignorance. Hate, resentment, and avoidance are also ignorance. In other words, we cultivate to transcend those two extremes, love and hate. Love means clinging tightly to an object to extract energy, to demand, to make requests, to want that object to serve us. That's called love. And it's different from compassion. It's purity. Compassion is supporting and sharing unconditionally. That is true love. Whereas we often suffer because of the object of our love, even if that object loves us very much. We suffer if they love us a little, and we suffer if they don't love us at all. In general, having an object to cling to or needing an object already causes suffering. But when you eliminate your need and don't demand anything from that person anymore, when you accept whatever they give you, then you'll end your suffering. Easy to do. If we give a lot, we also have to demand a lot in return, right? We're not stupid enough to give without demanding back. Suffering arises like that. Recently, I took some of you to pay respects to my teacher, who is your Grand Master at the Hunangiyam Buddhist Institute. At that time, the Grand Master mentioned a practice. A person who eats a cake and knows whether it's delicious or not is an ordinary person. Someone who doesn't know whether it's delicious or not is unconscious, like wood or stone. So how should we eat cake? Is there another way? Yes, there is. We know what it tastes like without adding an attitude. It's not about whether it's delicious or not. Salty is salty. Sour is sour. Bitter is bitter. Sweet is sweet. That's enough. Knowing is still knowing, so it's not like wood or stone. It doesn't fall into the ordinary person's category because you don't add an attitude of liking or disliking, of preference or aversion. You have to put it through a standard, a filter that you've prepared long ago, according to which this is delicious, this is bad. That filter causes suffering. Now we don't put it through that filter anymore. Knowing what it is enough. Don't add an attitude of liking or disliking when you become someone superior. Someone who is supporting someone, you don't put yourself on the same level to demand from them. That filter is gone. You come to that person, and whatever they give you, you're happy with it. But when you're still someone who has many emotional needs, you need that person to respect you, listen to you, revere you, admire you, love you. Then of course it will go through the filter of liking and disliking. Zen masters always remind us to aim directly at those 2 points to cultivate, which is Tanai Bat Kwan, with a pure mind and a long body. Both are put away in harmony. Love and hate do not cling, so the heart can lie down and stretch its legs straight. Those are 2 lines from Zen Master Hunang. How do you cultivate to transcend love and hate, liking and disliking? Transcending those 2 is considered liberation. It's difficult, but it's also not difficult. It's difficult because our habits have been built over a long time, and they emerge at any moment uncontrollably. And it's not difficult when you build a capacity for mindfulness, always having a capacity for mindfulness to know whether you are liking or disliking. That is our practice. Your meditation practice isn't just sitting still and focusing the mind, but your meditation practice is sitting to see your psychological developments, your reactions of liking. When you like something, you know you're liking it terribly, liking it to the point of being infatuated. You know it very clearly. And when you hate, you avoid. You don't want to see their face. You want to eliminate them. You want to chase them away. That's called tan, which means hate. On one hand is greed, on the other hand is aversion. Liking is greed and disliking is aversion. That is the main point for cultivation. As the Venerable Master Senkan, the third patriarch of China, counting from Bodhidharma, said, "The great way is not difficult, only avoid picking and choosing." Don't love or hate. Understand this clearly, and attaining the way is not difficult. It's just that you finding the path means moving beyond attachments and desires. Each day, we try to lessen them a little. Of course, we still have a lot of attachment and desire within us, but we should eliminate what's unnecessary. Should we be attached to a bowl of crab noodle soup? It doesn't matter. Should we be attached to this meditation hall? Just practice. Should we be attached to this peach tree? Let go of whatever is too big. If we can't overcome it, we endure it. If we can then overcome it, and overcome it. That's the word. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, go beyond, and go beyond. Going to this shore is the shore of mistakes, of attachment. Crossing to the other shore means no attachment. Don't lie. The peach tree is starting to judge. Okay, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out. On the other side, there's freedom. Nothing, no suffering because of the peach tree. But looking at the peach tree for a while, resentment arises or entanglement arises. I probably have to take a picture. Does anyone have a camera? Oh, where's my phone? Who has it? Give me the phone. Let me take a picture. And then we fall back to this shore, suffering, still not satisfied. These two photos aren't good enough. It has to be that style with the teacher too, so I can post it on Facebook. Oh, so many desires in this place. All you need to do is close your eyes, relax, and simply observe that desire by letting go. Letting go naturally leads to the freedom. We express the energy we cultivate by bringing the energy from our brain down into our body. It's like a tree planting its roots into the ground. That's the energy part. The roots planted in the body are the energy part. And our emotions are like the branches of the tree. And the sky out there is that when you control your emotions and preferences, you're left with a vast sky. Liberation lies here on earth. It's not about dying and being reborn in another realm. That's not the orthodox meaning of liberation in Buddhism. The orthodox meaning of the word liberation means to be free from afflictions, free from the control of likes and dislikes. It sounds a bit strange, but when you start meditating, when you start observing your mind, you'll see it's not that difficult. We can do it. There are some passions that are too great, some resentments that are too great, some hatreds that are too great that we can't overcome yet. But the small things we can do, or try a little harder, step over, go to the other shore, which is the shore of liberation. Don't stay on this shore. This shore is the shore of ignorance and suffering. Gate, 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 paragate, which translated into Sino-Vietnamese is Yo Tai Vao, vai te la, vele yote do, vele tinjiatia, viatatpiha. And when we don't identify ourselves with our likes, knowing that likes change, we step back to observe. Hello, my liking! The habit of clinging to anything beautiful, gravitating towards anything cuter, getting closer, wanting to hold onto anything sweet. Hello, what for? Ask, why do I like it so much? I like it so much that I have to take a picture together to be satisfied. Looking at it, we realize we don't need it that much. We're very capable. We're very majestic. We don't need to find an object to feel valuable. But the ugly truth is that that liking isn't that scary, yet we're enslaved by it because we're indifferent. We ignore it. We underestimate it, not knowing that its power is so great. And when we start saying hello to it, that's when it has to stop. It can't grow, it can't expand anymore, and it even withers and fades. And if we look at it many times, it will disappear. And the same goes for hatred. Hatred also includes subtle mental states, very subtle, like dislike, disfavor, no affection, not very fond of. For example, looking at the bio anachet anji sticky rice cake. Eating it the first time is okay, but the second time, I'm probably dead. And the third time, bien chide eng again, no matter how delicious, I'm sick of it. I wish I had a bowl of instant noodles. Suffering begins to appear because once the biwan chenang is in your body, it's not, it's okay. It goes through a filter. Some filtering mechanism that thinks having bianam come on twice is not good. There has to be something with broth, like instant noodles. That's our filtering mechanism. But once it's in the body, it still accepts it normally. And sometimes the body might even need bote chitingi. So practicing meditation is about sitting and scrutinizing all our reactions, whether they're right or wrong, whether we should nurture them further or stop them. Don't repeat those familiar habits continuously, or we'll remain stuck in our old ways and never find the path. The teacher who went to gather medicine didn't check on the house. He's already hiding out there. Be patient. Just sit there and observe. Stay put, and he'll come back. Don't go looking for him, or you might end up getting lost. He'll go one way, and you'll go another. Just stay put. Then he'll appear. Your true self isn't that hard to find. Just proceed at a moderate, steady, relaxed, and consistent pace. At some point you'll naturally encounter him without needing to search, speed up, rush, or be hasty. Wanting is the ego's activity. Just relax and live deeply in each moment. Just think you're living, not practicing. Just live deeply, and enlightenment will automatically knock on your door. The moment you crave enlightenment or want to become something, it won't happen. We've seen and witnessed those who crave to become something on the path to enlightenment, just to show off and be admired and respected, all end in miserable failure. Just be a farmer growing crops, a son, a brother, a sister, a teacher, a friend, willing to live sincerely and harmoniously with everyone. What comes will come. Everything comes from sincerity, dedication, and simplicity. Thank you for